6 o'clock right here on Big Breakfast. Today FM, today's hit music.
Hey, I'm Pauline.
And I'm Alan. Tune in to The Breakfast Show on Today FM with Pauline and I every weekday morning
from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m.
right here on Today FM, today's hit music.
Today FM, today's hit music.
Tonight's elections office says pre-polling is well on track at the end of day 2. Nukui village in Rewa sees a large turnout of voters for pre-polling. And RFMF still awaits answers on captured troops. Good evening, I'm Jackie Spate and this is FBC News. Day 2 of pre-polling and the Elections Office is working on improving the processes. There were a few minor hiccups, however the office is confident pre-polling is well on track. Chanel Sivan joins us live now. Chanel, what can you tell us about these so-called hiccups?
Yes, Jackie, the Elections Office has described them as learning curves as far as the administering of pre-polls are concerned. Jackie, in fact, in one instance, the election staff had run out of ballot papers, but there is nothing that can't be rectified before the end of pre-polling, which is on September 15th. The Elections Office has recorded a good turnout today with a high number of voters at the pre-poll venues. Supervisor of Elections Mohammed Saneem says the number ranged from 75 to 90%.
It's looking good in terms of the number of people arriving at polling stations and also the number of inquiries we have received about pre-poll. It looks very positive. Tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, we will have a total of 70 polling stations, pre-polling stations operating, and we will give you the number of voters tomorrow.
There are a few issues which have come forward over the last 2 days and are being rectified ahead of pre-polling tomorrow.
We had a little bit of issues with the tide in one of the Eastern Division areas, and quite predictable. That is why we are having pre-poll in these areas. So that the polling in one area was delayed by 1 hour because we couldn't reach the place due to tide. However, people in that area were all informed, and they were still there and they waited. We will extend the pre-polling for 1 extra hour, not extra hour, the same number of hours, but we'll go up to 6 now. Initially it was planned to go up to 5.
The Elections Office also admits there was shortage of ballot papers in Yasawa yesterday.
We will go back to that village this Saturday, and only 4 people are left to vote. We have their EVR numbers and we know them by name. So we will go back for those 4 people to cast their vote. This happened because of the similarity in the names, and hence there was shortage of ballot papers. However, this is still pre-poll and we can rectify this situation.
13 days remain for September 17th, and people are again urged to check their polling venues to avoid any inconvenience. Chanel Shivan, FBC News.
Social Democratic Liberal Party leader Rotemu Mukepa has filed a police complaint against Fiji First Leader Frank Bainimarama and the Fiji Sun newspaper. Police Chief of Operations ACP Rusiate Tunravu confirms the report was lodged this morning by a member of the party at the Central Police Station in Suva. He says the allegation is that the Fiji Sun article and comments made were threatening in nature. The initial investigation has been completed and the case has been forwarded to FICAC. The Fiji Independent Commission Against Corruption has confirmed they are investigating a series of allegations of election fraud. In a statement this afternoon, FICAC says there have been complaints of election fraud received in the North, Central and Western divisions. Although FICAC is not at liberty to divulge specifics about the cases, investigations have begun. FICAC is mandated to carry out investigations into election fraud under Section 18 of the Electoral Decree. The Commission says it will play the lead role in ensuring people who contravene the decree are investigated. The Social Democratic Liberal Party says it's concerned about voting transparency. SODELPA leader Rote Mumukepa says she's particularly worried about the pre-polling of the disciplined forces at their place of work.
Our assessment is it would not be fair and free because members of our security forces will go into the poll with fear of being victimized of their political choices. They are voting in their workplaces, having a fear of losing their jobs.
However, FBC News can confirm that all polling is done through secret ballot and that no one is privy to any voter's political choice. Meanwhile, Supervisor of Elections Mohammed Saneem says he is following the electoral decree.
Under the decree, personnel in the disciplined forces can do pre-polling, and we have organized for pre-polling for them, and we are complying with the decree.
The Multinational Observer Group says they will be discussing a few issues with the Supervisor of Elections today after day one of the pre-polling. MOG Coordinator Andrew Galetsky-Noski says they can't reveal any details of what they've observed, but they are constantly liaising with the Fijian Elections Office. The group has been on the ground for some time now, observing the process leading up to elections and how pre-polling is being conducted around Fiji.
We're happy and satisfied with the access that we've had and with the way in which we as an observer group have been dealt with. That's been appropriate and we've had no difficulties in that regard. But I won't at this stage be telling you whether we're happy with the actual process. That's something which we're still considering.
There are 65 observers in the country already, from which 29 have been accredited. More observers are on the way. The United Nations is working on the demands given by the Al-Nusra Front rebel group in return for the release of the 45 Fijian soldiers they are holding captive. Fiji's military commander Brigadier General Mosese Tikoitonga says there is a possibility of more abrupt demands from the group during the negotiation process. Eleanor Trangaiviu reports.
7 days now and still nothing has been established on the location of the 45 Fijian soldiers taken by the Al-Qaeda-linked Al-Nusra Front rebel group. In a media briefing this morning, the RFMF commander Brigadier General Mosese Tikoitonga said, at present, there is a lull in negotiations.
I queried the UN why is there a lull in between negotiations, and he said that's normal in such circumstances that the captors would shy away from negotiations and do not establish contact so that they can regain the initiative on the negotiations.
Brigadier General Tikoitonga says the UN is working on the demands given by the group, although there was no deadline given.
Can't rule out that with such groups there can be additional demands, there can be unreasonable demands, and there can be very abrupt demands that can come during the negotiations.
On Tuesday, Australia offered its intelligence resources to help the UN track down the Fijian peacekeepers. Tikoitonga says more offers of assistance have reached the RFMF.
We've also had offers from all other major countries that have intelligent assets in the area, or those that can bring to bear the intelligent assets of other countries that are in the area. And we're using them. We're pushing information to them for verification and for clarification, and they're giving us the information that we want.
Despite the hostage situation involving our soldiers, the RFMF is adamant it will continue with its deployment in the Golan Heights. The military commander adds the decision to replace the 45 will be made after the captured soldiers are freed. Those who can will be allowed to continue with the peacekeeping mission. Eleanor Turangaiviu, FBC News.
After the break, bench warrant issued for SODELPA executive Sainiana Randronro.
FM nambantu en ser na ngona nin den manda ke central rental sapo ke na rusu ko minichi me va na koloko ni sabola
oya wa ti soni dalai
go nga e mosdon
na ma ke raw mena tolu ke na bitu ena via kabi moliti ke na porombuka
goria na lali ne kabi bula FM nambantu en ser
Welcome back. This is FBC News. Police have charged a 40-year-old man for allegedly killing his father-in-law earlier this week. The accused has been charged with 1 count of murder, 1 count of act with intent to cause grievous harm, and 2 counts of assault. He will appear in the Nasino Magistrates Court tomorrow morning. The accused's mother-in-law and wife, who were also allegedly assaulted during the incident, have been discharged from hospital. A bench warrant has been issued for Sainiana Randrondro, the former media liaison officer at the Ministry of Works, Transport and Public Utilities, after she failed to appear in court on Monday. Randrondro was supposed to have appeared before Magistrate Alipate Mataitini, but neither she nor her counsel was present in court. She is charged with 11 counts of obtaining a financial advantage by deception. It is alleged she obtained financial advantage by falsely stating that the Minister for Works had requested a total of $9,560 over 11 separate occasions between May 2010 and June 2011. The matter is adjourned to 30th October for mention. That time again, Sports Now, here's Jamie with the latest.
Good evening. In Sports Tonight, Fiji basketball work on getting its best ready for FIBA Oceania tournament. Also up ahead, will the issue of club over country come back to haunt the Flying Fijians at next year's Rugby World Cup? Find out after the break.
यू ट्रेन से मिर्ची एफएम पर रफ्तार में मैं आपके हम सफर साथी कृष्णील शामिल हो चुका हूं और फिजी में विदेश में आप जहां कहीं पर भी हमें सुन रहे हैं, कृष्णील का प्यार आप तमाम दोस्तों तक पहुंचे। हेलो गाइस, मैं हूं डीजे कृष्णील। आप हमें सुन सकते हैं मिर्ची एफएम रफ्तार में मंडे टू फ्राइडे शाम 3 से लेकर रात 7 तक हम आपको रॉक कराएंगे। मिर्ची एफएम, इट्स हॉट। अब दिल करता है हौले हौले से मैं तो खुद को गले लगाऊं।
Welcome back to FBC Sports. It seems the age-old argument of club over country has reared its ugly head again in the build-up to the 2015 Rugby World Cup in England. Top clubs in the host country have threatened to continue with their local competition during the 2015 World Cup, as they have not been consulted by the International Rugby Board and the England Rugby Union over compensation for players. FBC Sports asked Fiji Rugby Union CEO Randrondro Tambo-Levu what impact this may have on the Vodafone Flying Fijians.
The IRB has made a ruling on that, club versus nation conflict that's been there for some time. There is a ruling in place that effectively says that the national representation should take precedence.
Tambo-Levu says IRB laws clearly stipulate that players need to be released, and they are confident this will eventuate.
For Fiji, I can confirm that our head coach, Mr. McKee, has communicated with all the clubs in Europe where our players are playing at for the Northern Tour, just to alert them to the fact that we are having that and we may be calling on them. So there's a process there, so we are following up with that, yes.
Meanwhile, the Flying Fijians are not letting this problem get in their way, as coach John McKee is already working on having his best players available.
Certainly, I mean, there's all the players really, they want to try to make this November tour because they know there's a Rugby World Cup next year, and they know that if they can play in November and play well, they put themselves in a really good position to be selected next year.
Smaller nations such as Fiji are always caught in this row. One can only hope that the team doesn't have to face the same debacle of past World Cups of not having its best players at its disposal. Interesting. FBC Sports.
The Fiji Sun Skipper Tuna National Football League resumes next Wednesday with Rewa battling Suva at Ratudakambau Park. Rewa, which won the BOG last Sunday, will be hoping to carry its form into the match, while the Suva side, who is currently on top of the points table, is also eyeing the league title. Next Saturday, Ba meets Lambasa at Govind Park, while Navua hosts the Men in Black on Sunday. Fixtures also on Sunday will see Suva take on Lautoka, while Nandrunga will host Lambasa. The last round of games will be played on September 20th and 21st. Basketball Fiji is working closely on engaging more players from the Western Division for the final selection of the Under-19 national squad. This as the sport hopes to select the strongest available squad for the FIBA Oceania Championships in Fiji in December. Josephine Navula has more.
Officials of the Basketball Fiji are doing their best to give players from the Western schools a chance to vie for the national team selection. This was after their tremendous performance at the Tuckers Ice Cream Fiji Secondary School Basketball Championships last week.
We had to depend a lot on our development officer, Weston Kelepi, to help us out with the West selection. But right now what we've seen in the West was very encouraging, and we hope that we could get the best from both sides, the East and the West, for Saturday.
Nainima says they are using the championships last week as part of criteria in selecting the final squad.
The national team coaches are going to cut both squads from Suva and the West to 20 players. So that's what's happening on Saturday.
Nainima says the public can expect a strong outing from the team at the Oceania Championships.
Whoever played outstanding during the competition, as well as their training before leading up to the competitions, because the national teams have been training. So that taking everything into account, and the most outstanding players are going to be selected.
The final selection will be held at the Vodafone Arena this Saturday. Josephine Novula, FBC Sports.
That was your sports for this evening. It's back to Jackie now with business.
Towards the end of the bulletin tonight, we have another update on pre-polling that came in this evening. The second day of pre-polling took place with more remote parts of the country experiencing firsthand the new voting system. Watisoni Raikandroka reports that rural dwellers such as those in Nukui village in the Rewa Delta found out that voting under the new system was easier than they had expected.
Today, the villagers of Nukui casted their votes on the second day of pre-polling. Nukui village is located on the Rewa Delta, and it's a half-an-hour drive from Nosoro Airport before you get off at Nasali Landing and travel via water taxi to get there.
Well, I think it's a bit hard when I heard about it. It's a bit hard, but when I see it now, it's a bit easy. It's easy, and I like it after 8 years.
The crowd today comprised only the Nukui villagers, which was about 150 people. This showed that the villagers in Fiji have a quite understanding of pre-polling, since the turnout comprised of the disabilities, young and old. However, some voters are hoping that the government they elect will help them and reach out to their needs concerning the village welfare.
Well, we just hope to look after us, especially we are living in the suburb, we're living in the village, to look after us and help us most of the thing. Yeah, you know, we most of our staying in the village, we struggle every time. So we do hope the new government will help us all.
Today, the people of Nukui casted their votes and are hoping for the best outcome in the 2014 general elections. They hope their votes will bring a better future for them and their children. Watisoni Rekanroka, FBC News.
Nominations for the Women in Business Awards 2015 are now open. The theme is Rewarding Women, Revolutionizing Business, highlighting one of WIB's objectives to applaud women who are transforming the way business is done in Fiji. The 4 categories for the awards are Businesswoman of the Year, Executive Woman of the Year, Manager of the Year, and Aspiring Entrepreneur of the Year. The awards have gained huge momentum over the previous 2 years, fast becoming one of the premier events in Fiji's corporate and social calendar. Applications close in December, and the awards night will be held in March 2015. Weather time now with Trish.
Right, thanks Jackie. Now folks, with the map today, Suva was the only center with fine conditions all throughout the day with a bit of brief showers. Towards the west, Nadi Lautoka Ba had fair conditions, and also to the north, Lambasa all day. Temperatures Suva 28, Nadi 33, Lautoka 32, Ba 32, Savu 29, and Lambasa 32. Friday's forecast, much of the same as today, Suva with fair conditions, but a chance of scattered showers towards the afternoon. The rest of the centers might have fair conditions also from all day. For Mariner's east to northeast winds, 15 to 20 knots, moderate to rough seas. Our picture of the day.
Look at your background. We just want to wish the baby of the team, Trish, a very happy birthday from the FBC News team.
Oh my God, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm surprised.
A quick recap of our stories tonight. Elections Office has identified minor hiccups which it is rectifying tonight before pre-polling resumes tomorrow. SODELPA leader Rotemu Mukepa has filed a police complaint against Fiji First Leader Borenge Bainimarama and the Fiji Sun over an article printed today. And RFMF says there is a lull in negotiations with Syrian rebels on the release of Fijian troops held captive for 7 days now. Now time for the Fijian Speak segment.
I think SODELPA. Why SODELPA? Because I'm not against Fiji First or anything, but Fiji First, they failed to give the people the audit report of their financial things.
Fiji First.
Why?
Yeah, Fiji, because he's the best.
SODELPA. So I'm more concerned about our land rights.
Meanwhile, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page, FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC News or simply hashtag FBC News. You can also find us on YouTube, FBC TV 2011, or on Instagram, FBC TV. And to receive the latest headlines on your mobile phone, text subspace FBC to 777. That's news tonight. Join us again at the same time tomorrow. Good evening.
तो आप हमें बता सकते हैं कि जो बलात्कार हो रही हैं इसको हम कैसे रोक सकते हैं? आप हमें अपनी राय दे सकते हैं श्रोताओं की जो आग लग रही है दोष किसका है? किसको हम दोष दे सकते हैं? इस पर हम किसको दोष दें? ड्राइवर्स को या फिर पुलिस को? नमस्ते फीजी, देश की धड़कन रेडियो फीजी 2 पर मैं मोहिनी। हमारे साथ में शामिल हो जाइएगा दृष्टिकोण प्रोग्राम में हर सोमवार से शुक्रवार तक रात 7 से 8 बजे तक दृष्टिकोण प्रोग्राम में।